Welcome to AEC Stories, the USS Mount Hood podcast. This is former SM3 Dempsey, and guess what? Boatman is back. Yep, he was so good, we had to have him back twice. Actually, we didn't finish the first time, and, you know, every sailor's got more than one sea story. We've got hundreds of them, because every day was a whole script that should have been a movie. Whether it was a boring movie or an exciting movie, well, that's the difference. So, how you doing, Ronnie?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I guess since you're talking movie script, I guess mine would be I was down in the depths of the hell that was deck department and rose from the ashes when I got to other ships. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a whole lot of good memories being on USS Mount Hood. And,
that's the thing.
Yeah, mine was just every day somebody had to mess with me. Every day.
So you were on the bully side of it all, I guess.
No, I wasn't being bullied. I mean, it was just, I can't give names, so I'm going to give, like, nicknames. My God, I mean, everybody was afraid of a certain shipmate in deck.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like I just got on his bad side. He even gave me a nickname that was very, very pissed me off every time he used it. But you know, on the Mount Hood, I was literally every day made to look stupid. And
that can get annoying. So you were dealing with the Clubber Lang of the Clubber Lang. Yeah,
I was made to look stupid, and I just every time E5 or above got around me, I'm like thinking, what did I do now? Holy shit! What did I do now? What did I do now? Well, and I used to be made to stay in port and starboard watches. I remember that, and just because.
Oh wow!
But you know, but there was fun on that thing. I can't remember who it all was. I remember making my first batch of grapes, alcohol, I guess we'll call it.
Oh, you made your own moonshine on the ship?
Yeah, I did that, and I got the funny thing about that is, I was told let it sit for 3 weeks, and that's what I did. And after 3 weeks, some of us partook in this, and I'm the one that got the sickest, and I've never done it since. I got to tell you.
Did you mix some like floor wax stripping?
I had no idea. I just remember right before we left, I got a buttload of Welch's grape frozen concentrate, man, and
now you made your own version of Pruno, but with grape. Yeah,
Pruno grape, and I got so goddamn sick. I swear to God. That was not a. I had the mid-watch after I kind of, I don't know, drank a lot of it, and about 2 a.m. Oh Lordy,
get seasick. Seasick.
Yeah, we'll put that in quotes. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I got seasick.
For the first time. You know, it didn't come naturally. You had to work on getting seasick.
Oh no. You misremember. Every time we pull out, I get sick. We've already been out to sea for a couple of weeks. I was fine. And then, at 2 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden, man, I had to borrow a Cadillac and clean, put it nicely. But yeah, that shit shot purple everywhere, man.
You remember the name of that Cadillac? My gosh, I forgot that when we used to have to swab the decks. One of the things not mentioned in the Navy commercial is you get to drive a Cadillac, and it's not the kind you think. It doesn't have leather.
Oh, absolutely.
What is a Cadillac?
I drove a Cadillac for the Navy for a long time, brother.
And the Cadillac is dun dun dun. A Cadillac is what? It's a swab. It's a mop and a bucket with the squeezer thing that squeezes all the water out of the nasty mop.
Yeah.
And that's called the Cadillac because it has wheels. It's a bucket on wheels.
It would be a Ford Pinto if you didn't have wheels on it. I tell you.
Yeah.
I remember spewing it just hit me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And none too pleased with the officer of the deck.
That's fun. That's funny. That's funny to talk about. I drove a Cadillac in the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know, it's funny. Here we are. We became friends, even though we were from different divisions, just because we ran into each other at the bar. And that was talking about sea stories. Go
That's
ahead.
shipboard life. You run into everybody. You know, on a ship, I don't remember how many we had on the Mount Hood, but within a week, you at least seen everybody on there. And after a
Right.
month, you started knowing names of everybody on there. And after a couple of months, you know, everybody, it's a small city. Everybody knows your business.
Well, yeah, we only had a crew of like, I think 356 people, but they grew it later to like 400 when they added more people to the ship.
Yeah.
But during the time that you and I were on, it was like 88, 89 in that era.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
You know, it was cool though. I mean, there was something about San Francisco. I just remember that was like a rambunctious. It was a fun little area at Pier 38. That's where I came on the ship and I met you.
Yeah.
And we had all the great little cheap burger joints right outside the ship, you know, the Java House and all that, right?
Yeah. And Toll's Bar.
And Toll's Bar. Well,
Now, Toll's Bar was an Irish pub owned by two Korean women. And that's why I went there a couple of nights a week on Pier 38.
those were, to put it lightly, those were barfly hangouts.
Yeah.
And them flies, there were some big flies that came in there.
There's some mean, big old husband-looking flies out there.
That was like, it was a weird, you know, like the Navy, you know, as a young man, you get off a base and there's either some Scientologist trying to recruit you into a cult, or you go to the bars and there's like,
I got hit up by, I got hit. Harry Christian. Shit.
I just made you remember that, huh?
Yeah, you did. Oh, you flamer.
Well, that's funny because here I am shooting you off into the moon like, oh, you just made me remember something. But that happens to me doing the podcast. You know, it's like,
yeah, sure does.
So I don't know, in boot camp, when I came out, there was like, there was some like sexual predator trying to recruit this really, you know, weak looking, feeble little sailor, like, hey, get in my car, boy. Like, some other shipmates ran out and tackled the dude, and like pulled him as the guy was trying to pull him in the car. And I was like, you better thank God for your shipmates there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think because a lot of people were away from home for the first time. They'd never seen or done anything. They'd never been away from home. A lot of them were naive, and I think that cults and weird religions used to prey on the sailors like, hey man, you know, these guys, if they'll join the Navy, they'll join anything. Right?
Oh man. Yeah. My deal with I guess you want to call it a cult, I don't know, but I went to go see the movie Brazil. This is like, you know, in San Francisco, and it was in a movie theater run by Harry Kirshner. I just thought it was badass. And there I am looking at these guys, and they're talking to me. And I'm like, I don't think I'd look good bald headed wearing a dress. Oh, but yeah, I watched the movie at a Harry Krishna movie theater, and got out of there and went on to spend a lot of money on Pier 39. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that's you know, wasn't that? I mean, San Francisco, of all cities to be stationed in, you know, I go to Florida. Florida was, you know, for A school, it was what I expected. Like pretty girls, beaches, beer, and let's party. It looked like the movies I had watched because I'd never been there. So I'd watched the Spring Break movie that was popular in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Now, San Francisco is a hub of, give you an idea, I grew up in a small town. So, small town boy goes to San Francisco, never seen a hooker before, never saw flamboyantly gay people before, never been in a strip bar before. Yeah, absolutely. Haven't even been in, other than Fort Worth, I have not been in a major city before. So
yeah,
I can understand.
Fort Worth is not that creative either.
No. Fort Worth, no. Now, I remember being in awe of everything I saw. I saw BART for the first time. I remember seeing the Metropolitan Center for the first time. I remember the Leaning Coit Tower for the first time. Everything to me, and I think this is what it is with younger people when they go to the first place like this. Is this the first thing that they see, and it's the most they remember out of it. It's the best experience for them. So to me, if you understand what I'm trying to say, I would probably feel the same way if I got stationed for the first time ever. If they sent me to Norfolk, I'd be thinking, "Woo, look at all these ships."
Yeah, right.
Like San Francisco is like, "Woo, look at all the major streets going one direction." Holy cow! I've never seen a person with red, blue, and green hair before dressed like that. Oh wow, what is this? I've never seen folk singers on street corners before. So, oh yeah, I mean, I've never seen panhandlers before either. So
yeah, it was like being in a weird movie. Like all the movies you watched were suddenly your reality, right?
I mean, gosh, man, man, if I had more, I would love to go back to San Francisco, but I really would. Just to see how much it's changed from what I remember. Being at, what is that, across Treasure Island? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember sitting right across at Treasure Island looking at San Francisco with a little disc camera, taking pictures. I still have those pictures.
Wow.
Yeah.
One of those little disc cameras, huh?
Yeah, if you remember one of those disc cameras, man, I had a disc camera. That's what I used to take pictures with.
That was high tech back then.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, wasn't it ever? Man, just so we have what we have today back then. Oh man, there'd be much more documentation on everything.
I would have my podcast on top of the signal bridge. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, that would be a hoot.
That would be good. I'd have full camera broadcast, live stream.
Yeah.
Live stream underway. It would just be a production. They'd like, we don't need you as a signalman anymore. We need you as PR for the Navy.
PR for the Navy.
You're now the face of Navy news. Oh, but you went a little bit too far, Len. You're a little bit too rated R. We have to tame that up. Tame that up. Watch those cuss words.
Yeah. Man, I'm sitting there stinging. I got some more ink work done on my arm. I'm trying to hold it up and turn it around.
Yeah, I saw you getting a tattoo on Facebook the other day.
Yeah, I'm still working on my half sleeve, and I got one more to go, and then I should be done.
It's so interesting. I mean, you brought up a really like a whole podcast worth of topics just in that one experience as a young man in the 80s because we didn't have the internet.
Yeah,
we didn't have cell phones. You meet somebody and to stay in touch with them. Well, you didn't have a phone call to call, so you hoped you called them and they were home.
Yeah.
Or you left a message on a recorder.
That's it.
And, but what good did that do? Because you couldn't be called back.
And directions written on a piece of paper or napkin. This is how you get to my house. Usually it's 4 or 5 or 6 little scribbles and that's it.
Yeah. You had to figure it out quick. I mean, you were more intensely focused when you were given directions. Today you'll get lost. You're like, I don't know, something about a street, something. I got to put it in my Google Maps.
Yeah, I got to turn on my way. Yeah, I can turn on my navigator.
Turn on your Waze.
Yeah, I use Waze, man. So
yeah,
turn it all on. I got it all on. I don't get lost.
You're bringing back some crazy memories. I mean, I remember walking up and down Broadway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember Broadway. Going through all those stores with all the what do they call them? What do they call them? Gypsy people that are in the jewelry stores, the electronic stores, the clothes stores. There's one right after another.
Just trying to hustle you, man.
Just trying to hustle you, man.
Well, yeah. We would. Okay, so we would go to Little Italy sometimes. I know I did. I don't know if you did, but I'd go up there.
I missed out on Little Italy. I spent a lot of time in China.
Chinatown?
Yeah, Chinatown. I spent a lot of time. Love China.
See, you were in Chinatown. I was over in Little Italy, Broadway, and then I'd go to all the major nightclubs, City Nights, Deviates. Then I'd hang out at the Triangle, which was, you remember the Triangle over by the marina?
Not offhand, no.
That was a hot spot, but I don't know. I just remember, I think I was with you when that could have been you or someone else, but Bouncer's Bar was such a trip. It was like something you did back in the 80s, that was not as taboo as it is today. You're leaving the bar. They're like, hey, you want a 6-pack for the road? We're buying 6-packs for the road. And we would just sit staring at the Mount Hood out in the parking lot and the pier. and there's no cops harassing us, and we're just chilling. Yep, I need to get a couple more of these in me before I go back on the ship and go to bed. Because I
actually remember the last time I stepped foot into Bouncers. I remember this, and I can't remember who all went with me. There's a few of us. We walked in. They start closing part of it off, and we start drinking. Next thing you know, there's like 300-400 girls walking.
Oh, wow.
It's like, holy cow, what's going on? Turned out we wound up going there when they was having a male strip show. So here we are, fucking stuck at Bouncers. Somebody borrowed my blue car, and we're stuck at Bouncers during the male review. There's nothing we could do but drink.
Oh, well.
Nothing.
Well, I'm sure there was side benefits to that because
as soon as it was open, they were gone too.
I don't know, man. You made me think.
Yeah.
You made me think of when I was in. We were in Vallejo, and I walked into the bar, and I've been working out, so I was probably wearing a tank top or something. I wasn't trying to dress sexy for the nightclub, and I walked into the bar where there was a bunch of gals watching strippers.
Yeah.
Some of them had not hit the gym as hard as I had, so it was like, oh, hi. I get mauled. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I was like, I go, Vallejo's awesome. And you know what? No night ever came close to that ever again. It was always one hit wonders. It's like
that week in Vallejo's when I got my first tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. Now it's when I got my first tattoo.
Over in Mare Island. Mare Island is where our ship was.
Yeah. We all went to Vallejo and I got a tattoo drop off I went totally slammed.
Did you know Lavoie?
Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Mr. Lavoie.
What a guy, huh?
He stole my pants.
Did he?
Yeah. Gave him back. But I didn't care. But yeah, he almost got. God, what's up with him? Is he still living?
I don't know, but Lavoie, I mean, this is like people are like trying to go, what's the consistency of this podcast? I have no idea. On this one, we're just having memories come up. It's like two guys hallucinating on memories. I do know Lavoie was a bosun's mate. He was like 6'4" or something. He was a tall dude.
Yeah,
so if he was wearing your pants, they were probably high waters on him, and they probably look like he was wearing capris.
But yeah. We went driving. Boy, he almost got us some fights at Santa Cruz. But Lavoie,
really?
Man, I've often wondered what happened to Mr. Lavoie.
I don't know. I went out with him. I had some crazy adventures with Lavoie. I don't know why we became like disco buddies, as you want to call it.
Yeah, we used to go. Here.
Disco buddies.
Disco buddies, absolutely. Yeah, that's the best. Like dude knew out. He started out couldn't dance for shit, and by the time we got done, he could boogie. The guy got better as he went. I gotta say.
Yeah, he invested into it because he realized we were broke ass sailors. We didn't have a lot of money. I think I made $280 every 2 weeks as an E1. That didn't get you more than a night and a half out in San Francisco. And then you were broke and trying to live on $20 for 2 weeks. So that's what that was. But then Lavoie, you, me, anybody, you were a country guy. So, you could tear it up you could be a rock star if you went to the Saddle Rack.
Oh, I was a rock star going into one of those, disco bars. Just my accent alone got me in those places. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, hey, this is really cool here. It doesn't work in Texas. I'm just another guy.
Back then, it really, I could go into any bar, just be nice and friendly, talk like I do, bam,
yeah,
bang, bang, bang.
That is an interesting dynamic to be the stranger from afar, right?
Yeah.
You're the guy that's like, hey, hello, it's nice to meet you. My name's Roger, and they're like, oh, you sound exotic.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was an exotic.
You're an exotic Texan. There you were.
Texan.
So underway, like what cities did you hit? What were some of your favorite ports?
One of my favorites. Got to be Victoria. Has everything. Canada.
Victoria, Canada. I like that port too. That was a blast.
Yeah, I just loved it up there. That's one of the few cities I actually took the time to walk around and look at the buildings and stuff like that. You know, the architecture. I was just impressed with it all. So
this is a beautiful island.
Yeah, on their Canadian ships, walking around. Just enjoyed it. I was like, man, they got a full store. They got a freaking bar down here. What? That's so cool.
Oh, they had a bar on their ship, huh?
Yeah.
Just like the British people, I think they can have a pint a day or something, or 2 pints a day limit.
I have no idea if we did
underway. You can have 2 pints a day. You're a responsible adult, but not in the American Navy.
I'd be saying, you want 2 cans, $40 a can. That's what I'm doing.
Well, like I don't know, out in Victoria was just a beautiful island. It was really, Victoria, Canada. It's right off the coast of Vancouver. But it's like beautiful. The people are friendly. The food is good. The girls are pretty. They're nice. They like sailors.
Yeah.
Boy, do they like sailors. I can tell you that much firsthand.
Yeah.
It was like we went from California, where we were kind of like grimy sailors, to hit Victoria. And we're like suddenly stud, handsome, Frank Sinatra's everywhere.
Yeah.
I noticed everybody's game was up once we hit Victoria.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Other places. Other than that, we were always. I missed the cruise. Because of my end of enlistment was up, so I didn't get to partake in the Philippines and Hong Kong with you guys and all that. So,
well, you did. Did you get to go to San Diego with us for we were doing?
San Diego. I went to San Diego several times with Mount Hood. So.
That was cool, hanging out at Mission Beach and doing whatever. Where'd you hang out in San Diego?
I have no memory of where I hung out in San Diego. I drank
mostly by the beach of the city.
All I know is country bars. That's all I remember.
Country bars.
That's all I remember.
Why do you think we drank so much in the Navy? You think it was the stress? Because I don't drink like that anymore.
No,
I don't, man.
I think it is we're bulletproof, and it's been written in the Navy folklore that we consume as much alcohol as we can. So that's what I think. I mean, it was more of a peer pressure thing because, people who couldn't handle alcohol, you could obviously tell they don't drink a lot. And, they were just doing it just to do it. And, just written in the stars. You're especially if you're a deck. You better be putting them back, But no, we're just young and bulletproof. That's all. If you remember correct, mostly the older guys, they didn't go out and get hammered very often. No,
I thought it was like I thought it was liquid courage for most people.
No.
Like I want to talk to.
Well, yeah, you're probably right about that, but I can't remember any of my BM1s and above really drinking. They all had wives and families. We were all single and,
Yeah, we were chasing the novelty, right?
Yeah, we were chasing things, and so, that's what, you got to look at it from that point of view, because, all the family guys with husbands and kids, they didn't go drinking. They didn't go out.
Oh, I quit drinking. I did 6 years, Ronnie, so I quit drinking 3 years into the Navy.
Yeah.
Because I got sent to rehab after 3 captain's mass. And then I became the model sailor, and I became the master at arms, everything else. And I went up in rank and all that. But, for 3 years, I really screwed it off. And, that was, I don't know what that was, but it was what it was. And, after that, I was the guy that went home and didn't drink anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I didn't stop drinking until after my daughter was born.
So you kept the party going for how many years did you run hard after the Navy?
I kept the party going till 2002.
Damn.
So,
you had me beat.
Yeah, 2002 was. Once that little one came out, I said, "Yep, I see a pattern here. It needs to stop." So that's what I did. I just stopped drinking.
Wow. I did 18 years without it, and now maybe 5-6 times a year I'll have a couple.
Yeah, that's
but I don't really crave it, and it's like it's under control. But if I just went at the pace I was doing in the Navy, I would probably be somewhere down in Davy Jones' locker.
Well, if we would have continued, both of us would have been over 300 pounds, fat, drunk, and stupid. And
oh yeah, easily.
probably miserable living somewhere,
Yeah,
I woke up with my kid. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, when my daughter was born, that was it. So I'm like, man.
Yeah. So how often do you reflect on your time in? How often does it come to mind? Is it Facebook that pops up in you? But I mean, just on your own.
It's Facebook. I keep myself so busy nowadays. I'm doing my 9 rounds and traveling and doing stupid shit to my hair, getting tattoos. I'm over 50. I'm 51 now. So
congratulations, you made it, bro.
I'm trying to get as much done as I can before I hit 70. 70 is when I think I plan on slowing it down a little. So I'm just doing things on my own terms nowadays. So that's pretty much.
So you just had a kind of like a midlife crisis, but a midlife revolution, a midlife renaissance.
I wouldn't call it
midlife renaissance, a rebirth.
If I was in midlife crisis, I think I'd be dating a 19-year-old. With a Ferrari, deep in debt.
There you go.
No, my thing is camping, and I'm going to get my passport tomorrow, Wednesday, and then look out. I'm going to be hitting some tropical places. I might finally do a cruise, but I'm looking to fly into Heathrow in England and just having a backpack and walk around town for a couple of days, get back to Heathrow, and fly back to the States.
I like that.
I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking, man, I just fly to England. Just get out and walk. Just walk the town around and round and round. Surely you can find a place to bunker down. There's a Motel 6 somewhere over there. So
I would possibly use youth hostels or hostels.
Yeah. But, just walk around, take a bunch of pictures, say I've been there, and then get back on a plane and fly back to the States. So, I got shit like that. I got a trip to Belize I'm thinking of going. I've got a trip to Puerto Rico I'm thinking of doing.
I like that.
I bought a motorcycle. I'm learning how to ride that thing. So I'm going to be up and going around on that thing. I do sit around a lot, but I do a lot. So
I think that's the key to living, Ronnie, is that there's that old saying, a rolling stone gathers no moss, right?
Yeah.
So you got to keep moving. And I travel. I do some traveling every year. My wife likes to travel, and I don't deny her. She's like, I want to go here. I'm like, okay. There's my hesitation lasts a millisecond, not because I'm just like easily manipulated. I'm like, well, I've been everywhere. I have no right to deny that to you. And let's go. And you're helping me move, because if I just sit here on my ass, I'll be like anybody else. And then, I have friends that get stuck in small circles and don't go very far. And I think that you've got to live this life completely, because all you're going to have is your memories and your experiences. You can't just be, that this is just us talking about some of those experiences. We've had a million of them, right?
My goal really is this: when I'm dead and gone, and all my friends' kids kind of grow up and they think about me, they're going to say, Mom or Dad's buddy. Remember that guy, the crazy one that did the purple in his hair? He had fun his last. That's my goal. When these youngins grow up and they sit there and they think, wow. So just leave a little legacy of living. I don't want to be remembered for my first 40 years of my life. I want to be remembered for my last 10 and continue. So,
well, there's good and bad in all of it. Mm-hmm. I think.
So
how can you beat yourself up for how things were when you were young? You were young,
I use
there's no point.
Experiences to pass on to our youth. So, and if they learn from it, they do. If they don't, at least they'll say, well, somebody did tell me not to do this. So,
I don't think this generation is going to have the same kind of experiences we did. As a matter of fact, I know it.
No.
This is people that are, unfortunately, a lot of them are sucked into, Space Commander or Angry Birds or whatever. And it's a digital world now. They're sucked into social media that's just came over like a huge cloud. And it's part of what I'm putting this podcast on. So I'm like, hey, can't beat it, join it.
But gotta do. Yeah.
Right. So same thing with our kids. I got a daughter who's 13, and they're only going to remember, what is their experience going to be? I remember at 13, man, I grew up in Italy. I was out at nightclubs. I was out taking off from home. I was 300 miles away on a train. I was free, but 13, you can't trust a 13-year-old to do that now. Why? I don't know. The world's full of predators. It would be weird to see a 13-year-old out by themselves. But back when we were kids, it wasn't as weird.
They don't. They're hover parents. They. Oh, Jesus! They're taught to think that they're given things now. It's just stupid. So I don't have any. I'm glad I'm at the last third of my life, because I really don't want to be too much into what the future of this country is going to be with what's coming up behind me. So,
well, I think that sentiment is shared of most people our age, because and I'm sure the people when my parents were looking at us.
Oh, absolutely.
We're looking at us with mullets and acid wash jeans and heavy metal, going, those kids are crazy. This is a whole other thing.
It's a whole other thing. Yeah. Y'all are going to ruin this country for all of us.
We were the prosperous ones. We made all the money, but then I think the country became too much in love with capitalism and less about the culture and the people. So, the people stopped being there for each other, and they all got, pushed around in different directions.
Yep.
But so it's like, it's a weird time, and whatever. It's inevitable that change comes. I'm sure that the Pilgrims were mad at the next generation and so forth.
It is what it is, man. It's all good. I'm just glad that I got 1/3 left to go, and I'm gonna make the best.
So what cruises are you planning on taking?
Oh, I don't know. I've never been on one. All I know is the reason why I have not done a cruise yet is, I get seasick, man. I mean, that's every time a ship moves, I get seasick. So, but I'm going to learn how to scuba dive for too long, and I'm going to take a cruise, and I'm going to go scuba diving places. So that's my plan.
Well, you can take Caribbean cruises out of Houston, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because I know people that did that. So that's a good place to start. Little 3-5 day Caribbean cruise kind of thing. Yep. And those ships are so big that I don't think you have to worry about getting seasick. They're massive.
They're not that big. Mama Nature can kick that shit's
ass. Depends if you're going on the discount hurricane season, perhaps.
That's something I need to remember. Oh, no wonder, right? $200. It's hurricane season.
That's right. No wonder it was only $99 for a 7-day cruise. All you can eat, but we know you're not going to eat that much because you're going to be seasick.
That's all I'm going to do, man. I'm just going to plot and plan a little bit here, a little bit there. I got friends that live out throughout the country, and usually I'll take a trip and try to see somebody I know from back in those days, or high school. I just do little things like that now. But, man, I don't.
Well, it was nice that you came out here and met up with us and played golf with some of your deck shipmates.
Yeah,
Sip and Pat.
Sip was ducking me. You can tell him I said this. Tomas Sip is scared to play golf against me. He's completely. And I say this with all due respect. Yeah, he's scared of me when it comes to the golf. I was Pat and Richard, man. I came up to help get Richard going on his. Not Richard. I came up to help Pat get him going. I wanted to hear what they, patient advocates say in California as opposed to what they say here in Texas. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I wanted it because in my beginning, once I got to
we're talking about VA disability,
VA
right?
Stuff, and he was having a hard time, but we figured out why. But with me, mine was simple. It just took a long time. And I kind of expect everybody else's to be just as simple, whether it takes a long time or not. And, listening to what Pat's patient advocate had to say was almost pretty good with what I know. And then, I just flipped there and helped them. So, mostly I just wanted to listen. Man. I just wanted to hear what the difference between soon to be exiled state of California and then when they say things here in Texas. And that's pretty odd. He was honest.
I'll tell you what, I've had an easier time. I've had an easier time than people in a lot of other states doing it out here in California.
Here's the problem a lot of people are having, and you can say this to anybody who wants to. People are trying to get VA disability or expecting more and trying to claim more that doesn't have anything to do with their service. So
they're trying. Oh, you're trying to say you're trying to tie in civilian developed ailments.
Yeah. They're trying to do that. And they say, well, this is military related. And I tell people, it's got to be in your service record. Not your service record, it didn't have.
I agree.
But, I've had a couple of guys, on my mini ship say, look, and I would tell them, look, you're squeezing the turnip a little too dry there, buddy. It's not going to happen. And they just get so pissed off. They want to, I say, look, this, is it in your service record? Well, no. Well, it's not going to happen. But I got this because of this. Well, no, you didn't. You put on 150 pounds after you got out of the Navy. Now you got diabetes. So.
Yeah. No, I had a paper trail. So I had a clean paper trail of everything, including sleep apnea.
Yeah. Well, as long as you got that, but you got a date of entry. As long as you have a data file, you're good to go. You just gotta buy some time, and then I tell them now after about 2-3 months, that's when you start hitting up the patient ad. You just go to VA to, hey, I can't get answers. So
well, did you use a patient advocate, or you filed on your own for your benefits?
I filed on my own, and then after about a year and a half, I just happened to see a sign that said patient advocate, and I walked in, and I just asked her a question. I said, I don't, which I was completely. I didn't know any much about the system at all. So I just told her, look, I filed this over a year ago, and I can't get answers. I'm just wondering, is that you? Do you find answers? And she just made a phone call and said, oh, they found it. You've been approved. It's been hidden behind a desk. It must have fallen back behind a bunch of paperwork. And
it gets stuck under a stapler in a file. Yeah.
And the sad thing of it is it got approved 4 months after when I first filed, and then they waited another 8 months, till it was 8 months later. So it made me feel bad that 8 months of taxpayer money was just, I felt could have been avoided. I really did. I'm like, y'all are giving me blah, 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 blah because of their screw up. Their purposeful screw up is what I called it. Their purposeful screw up. So
I took a shipmate in the other day, and he had paperwork and he had proof of an injury that he sustained, and he's got continuous medical, continuing from the Navy into the civilian world. I'm not putting his name out there, but I'll say that I took him in and we met with this guy at the VA, the Veteran Service Office, and former lieutenant commander. So he's cool with me, and I filed my claim with him initially. Well, so we were talking, and he's like, if you got it on your record, cool. There's no extra favors. It's just, I like him because he was in the Navy. There's really no bonus to that, right? But he did help another shipmate get 100%. So everybody that I bring in there, they have a paper trail. They have an injury they sustained or a trauma or whatever in the military that's documentable. And poof, there you go. You know what I mean? But there are some things, Ronnie, that don't get put on the medical record for a lot of guys that were in Desert Storm. And, they talk about this Desert Storm sickness, and there's a lot of hospitals turning people away,
Well, I don't know.
And there's a lot of respiratory stuff that a lot of people get. Mesothelioma, they were like, if they were in certain shipyards, like over in Hunters Point, there's a lot of toxic waste that was dumped there that people don't know about, but I know about.
That was an asbestos dump. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, you look at these things where you're like, well, I'll look into that later, but you might have more ailments than you think. And, the Desert Storm Syndrome, a lot of people got some form of PTSD and it's not documented in their record. So it's really hard to prove. So that's when you need to file, get turned down, and then go hire an advocate and build a case. And that's what I see. That's what I see how people get it, though. But
there's a test you can take. And you can take. I tell people to take the Gulf War. I guess it's a Gulf War thing exam you can take and to be tested for a PTSD test you can take. So that I know. I know what happens here in Texas. You can either tell your doctor, I'd like to take your mental health. I'd like to take that exam. They'll let you take it. They'll it's pretty spot on. I got to tell them that exam does not bullshit. So if you score high enough, good for you. If you don't score enough, then you're fine. So.
Well, I'd rather not have any ailments, to be honest with you, my friend, because it takes years off your friggin' life. It does. So would I rather have 5 years more of life and have to work harder to make my income on my own? Yeah. But you know what? That's not the situation right now. There's things that prevent things from being a certain way. So I'm not, depressed. I just like whatever, it is what it is. It's just a trippy place to be. It's we're over here.
That's what I do. I'm at a point where I can do whatever. And I may up and go to Vegas. I discovered I like to play slot machines. So, my God, Vegas. Who wouldn't want to go to Vegas for a couple of days? I figure I can call you Cali boys. I feel sorry. I'm sorry that your state is so screwed up. I want to call you guys and say, hey, I'm going to go to Vegas. Y'all want to meet up in Vegas? Tell me what weekend to be there, man. I just might go. So,
yep.
I'll go to Vegas.
Well, there is that freedom to travel and live your life before you're 65 years old, and and using a cane to walk.
Oh. Trust me, when I hit 70, I'm moving myself into an old folks home. And I'm going to chill. That's my plan.
Yeah. That's a good plan.
My plan.
So how many other vets do you hang out with in your local area?
There's a couple. I got a couple of, Chill Will lives here. And, I'll see him on occasion.
Oh, yeah?
He lives not too far from me. We try to meet up for lunch often as we can. Got another shipmate for another
Very
ship
cool.
here. And a high school buddy. I got a couple of high school people here that are military, So there's a few. So yeah.
Chill Will was on our ship,
Chill
right?
Will was on our ship. Well, we'll meet up for, I'll text him, hey man, when you in town, let's meet up for lunch. When I had my heart attack, he was in the ER with me. So he was there,
man.
so now
that's really nice of him.
That really freaked a lot of people out. I'm the healthy one out of everybody that I run around with out there. I'm the one with a heart attack. Blows my mind. So
what was that? Atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis? What happened?
No idea. All I know is I got an ID card for my stent. So.
Oh, you get a stent?
I got a stent.
So you had some blocked artery. So. Well, hopefully you can make it out to the next reunion wherever we decide to have it.
I'll try to go to that one. That looked like fun. That really did.
That was a killer reunion, man. That was better than I was expecting. Whatever, and I was pleasantly blown away.
Yeah.
I got to meet up with some people that I hadn't seen in 30 years, like SM2 Dalton. We used to work together, and it was cool to see a lot. There was like 3 of the signalmen were there together. And then, of course, my friend DeBordy and, a lot of other shipmates. I was just like, wow. And then there was shipmates from times that I wasn't on the ship. So that makes it interesting. You get to meet new people too. So they all rode on the same boat, like, oh yeah, what was it like when you rode the boat? It's kind of funny. Man. And that's what the podcast is about.
Well, did Hamburger Hill show up?
No, of course not.
That is one badass. That is the most badass 5'4" and under man I've ever known in my life. Okay. I'm going to give it much love and respect to that man.
Well, he was all about being squared away, right?
He was all about.
He was all about all Navy. He made a career out of it. And I was watching a video yesterday where they say 80% of us are not going to make a career out of it. Minimum. That's the standard in all services. And I can't imagine doing 20 years of it, but there's some guys that did, like Richard Williams, and a few people became chiefs. I think Wesley King, he became a senior chief in the Navy. He was in deck with you. And then, yeah, there was a few people, man. They did the whole 20. I'm like, or 20 something. Like, that's cool. I like being a civilian.
Yeah. Good job.
But I wouldn't know who you were. I wouldn't know this guy in Texas if I never joined the Navy.
Sure. Yeah.
You wouldn't know me. We wouldn't have taken that small vehicle of yours and done some stunt jumping down, the hills of the hills of San Francisco.
I did. I drove that car like, I don't know, a Ferrari tank. I mean, I went over, through, and under, and that little Chevy Sprint.
Oh my gosh. You did some
I'm surprised I didn't wreck it.
That was your all, it was funny. I remember this for some reason. You talked about on the last podcast about the night that the guys get stuck, or we had to do import, like war, simulation. We were tied to the pier doing battle stations, right? And then everybody went out and partied that night. And I remember you coming back with some gorgeous blonde. I'm like, we don't get girls like this hanging out in San Francisco. We just barflies. I'm like, what happened? And I didn't understand that if you go to the saddle rack, that's where like some of the most attractive women that like manly men and like sailors and like cowboys, that's the place to go. So I never discovered that place till 20 years later.
You don't want to. I'm surprised it's still standing. I really.
Oh, well, the original owner's still rocking it. And, it's funny because I was like, damn, how'd he get her? Like, usually it's all about money and cars and muscles out here. And here he is in a dirty white t-shirt with a gorgeous blonde kissing him on the pier. I'm like, what the hell happened? Damn, Boatman. Must have been that little tiny car you had. Might have been.
It was a little bitty car. That's my word of sticking to it. It was that little bitty Budweiser can on wheels.
What other places did you hang out in the Bay Area?
I can't remember everything. It just where anybody else was. I'd go in somewhere and there's always somebody on the Mount Hood there. So wherever, it was very common. Hey man, y'all want to go to such and such? Yeah, I'll go. Load up the car and go. Wherever we would go, just all right. We got a car that only sits 4 people. We got like 8 people in this little bitty car. Okay, where are we headed? We'll just go.
Oh yeah, you must have been a popular guy with like, hey, let's go off the base, and especially when we were trapped in Concord and needed to wait for the ship's van.
That was tough. I hated I got a car. I didn't like wait for the ship's van. So.
Oh my gosh! So you did a lot of Concord. I went out and pulled some videos up of the base that were pretty cool, where this drone flew over the whole base, because we never get to see that whole base. But that base was, geez, that base was crazy. I mean, it had 350 Marines protecting it because it had so many crazy weapons on there. Yeah. It was like the Fort Knox, you know what I mean? And you never realized it. They said just take your, no walking on the base, drive your car directly to the ship, do not go anywhere. And you never had any of those guys jump out on you, did you?
Never.
Those Marines? No, I did. I did a couple times. They're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, okay. I can't. Yeah. Okay. I'm going back to the ship. What?
No.
It was a trip. But, man, so
some protester got his legs cut off protesting.
Oh yeah. I talked about that with Dalton. somebody and the train just rammed the thing. Apparently wasn't going that fast, but it hit him.
Well, he laid there and let him do it.
Then I hear that, and then I hear he get hit. It's I wasn't there. What do I know?
The train was crawling. It wasn't barely going more than 5 miles an hour, and it was going slow. And he just laid there and let him take his legs off.
So let me ask you this: if you had to do the military all over, and you were a young guy all over, what rate would you have chosen other than deck?
I would have gone into the Coast Guard or Air Force. I wouldn't have gone Navy.
You would have studied for your ASVAB?
For my ASVAB, and I would have gone coasting, or I would have gone Air Force. So,
what type of rating do you think you would have liked?
Firefighting. Yeah.
Firefighting?
That was the only interest I really had, and then the Navy. I took my ASVAB with a hangover and slept through most of it. And the Army guy said, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, you didn't score high enough." But all of a sudden, this Navy recruiter, "Hey, we can sign you up and you can just pick a job." So I fell for line number 1 in the Navy. We can just pick a job.
Right.
I fell for that. I wouldn't change, the friends I've made at all, but, if I had it all do over again, I would have definitely gone coasting or Air Force. Hell, I would have tried to be, a swimmer. So I would have done something. Being a janitor on a ship 16 hours a day, just like in a work camp, just wasn't my thing. So
yeah. So you're trying to, like, anyone listening to this podcast that hasn't joined the Navy, don't join deck, right?
Well,
Is that what
I
you're
hear
saying?
now it's like a little sunny day camp on being on a ship. So I hear
Times have changed as things got more PC and things got more regulated. I mean, we were in the tough guy Navy. It was more, you were guaranteed to get yelled at worse than your parents ever yelled at you when you were a kid.
Now it's please and thank you. Oh, you're giving me a stress timeout card? Oh, okay. Now you go hit your rack. So now I hear it's like that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So.
Hey, maybe you would have done better in that Navy.
Probably not, because I'm sitting now thinking, it was the practical jokes and shit like that were just, man, I hear you can't do that nowadays, or you'll trigger somebody's feelings. So, yeah.
Well, it's gotten overly, the military shouldn't be complying to everybody else. It should just be the military because it serves a purpose. It's to kick ass, take names, and that's it. And that's what it's for. It's not there to be nice. It's not, not the emotional summer camp. I mean, there's a place for,
cruise.
Well, there's a place for everything and everywhere, but there's a reason why our Navy during Desert Storm fucking closed that shit out in a month and a half. You know what I mean? Because people just handled their business. And that was the way the Navy was. Now, I'm not saying that the new Navy's incompetent, because they've got better technology. They've got more training. They know more about the world. They've got the internet. I mean, the kids are coming in with a lot more worldly knowledge than I did when I was a kid. So that changes, They got Google, bro.
They got better Cadillacs and green weenie technology nowadays.
They got really advanced Neverdull, and then you can shine the brass, a lot of things are changing. Like even on the carriers, they're downsizing the amount of crew because they've automated so much of the process on there. The technology is really jumping. I mean, our ship had less computer power than a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Really? You want to talk about how many bits of memory and so forth. So, it was like old Pong technology. Ping! There's a ship. Ping! You're playing Pong out at sea, bro. Right. But, hey, they were able to navigate and do a great job and get that thing around the world and not have any collisions because people were alert.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So I don't know. It's been an interesting ride, but here I am talking to you. What is it? 30 years later? 30, 31 years later.
I got on manhood in 87.
87. Okay. Yeah, I joined the Navy in 87. I was in boot camp, Great Lakes. And then I get on the ship. I went to A school. So I got on the ship in 88. Yeah. And then I met you. And then we've hung out since. We played golf. Well, I didn't play golf. I rode around the golf cart. But that was it.
Well, with the political climate in California kind of slows down, I wouldn't mind going back up there. But you guys,
well, the stuff that you see, here's the thing. A lot of people are very much triggered by anger or people messing on their rights and stepping on them and so forth. And I got to say, a lot of it's fake news. Yeah. A lot of it's got people arguing with each other when they shouldn't be arguing. And, I put a thing on, Patrick said something about the fights out in Carolina, whatever. I'm like, it's just a whole bunch of different people fighting over something and they never serve together. So they don't respect each other. So they're just like joining an angry group of angry birds, all attacking each other on every side. And there's no solution for it except more bullshit on top of bullshit. And it's like, I get along with my shipmates. I just see them as my shipmates. There's stuff out there that's trying to divide and conquer all of us when you know damn well that your shipmate would have your back, which is funny because everyone's like reacting. And I understand. I felt like little perks, like coming at me, like little stingers. I go, oh, this little, cause I've done marketing, before I went through my VA stuff. I did that and I really understand the psychology and I see how people are being pulled like puppets on a string to divide and conquer America. But that's also what causes a lot of PTSD for veterans is because they come back to a country that doesn't respect them and they were out there putting their ass on the line for them. You know what I mean? And it goes in a circle. So that's what gets people upset, man. That's what I see.
At this an hour, man.
I know. I was trying to get an hour out of it.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Well, I dragged it out. You can't talk more than 15 minutes, you gall darn Texas tallywhacker.
Hey, man, have you hit up Gals and all them guys yet?
I want to get them online. This is a very informal, just conversation. So it's going to be what it is. Some of them I do are more formal, but, Gauss is someone I'd like to talk to, but he's working like 7 days a week. Yeah. He was one of the guys that hung out with us.
Yeah.
Bliss. Sonny Bliss has been moving for the last 2 weeks and, he's moving from San Francisco to his new house and getting a pool put in, getting his kids in a new school, running back and forth to who knows what, the VA or whatever, and just, getting stuff wrapped up. So he's been so overwhelmed with stuff to do. I'm like, okay, let me give you like a month. You know what I mean? I'd like to have him on. I'd like to have DeBordy on. Who else do you think I should get on here?
Let's see. Good gosh. Giebler. Get Giebler on. Giebler. Elusive Mr. Giebler.
Giebler. Was he in deck with you? I have not seen Mr. Giebler on the Mount Hood page.
I don't think he's on anything. Well, last I heard, he's living in Long Beach.
No?
So, well, that's the rumor.
He's living in Long Beach?
Yep.
Okay. Any other suggestions? What about Pat and
you keep in contact with more than I do. I can't think of too many people, I don't tell you. But yeah, man. Tell everybody I said hello as you talk to them.
Oh, they're all hearing you right now. And, more people will go, well, geez, what are you guys doing? I'm like, hey, we're just talking. We're just putting in some podcasting. And because here's the thing, man, I talk to probably 10 or 20 people to get one person to show up because life gets in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad you helped me out and helped me make another podcast because I got to keep consistent. That's the way you grow one. If you don't, they fall off the ledge, man. People started all enthusiastically and they quit. And the most successful podcasts I've seen are people that come up with new ideas, new stories, new things to talk about. I'm like, hey, Ronnie, why don't you listen to my other 5 podcasts? Listen to them. And next time we'll do another podcast together, me and Boatman, because so far you've got the most hits out there. Something about a bosun's mate named Boatman has got the most hits of all my episodes.
Well,
Seriously, it does. And second to you is, I'm not going to go to the rest of them because, never know. Sometimes the numbers change. Like first, second, third place is always changing depending on people's interest that day.
You just got
Gaines is behind you. He's trying to catch up.
He's a good guy. I like that.
Yeah, he's really cool, man. We hung out on Coast Guard Island the other day and did a podcast from the base. But if you could, listen to the other podcasts and then we can review some of those sea stories and tell me what you thought.
No problem. That's no problem. Yeah, I don't want to be filtered so much. Every now and then, I cuss.
Well, that's okay. I say, dick, fuck, sex, whatever. Don't matter. Did you like that? Did that make this rated R?
Talking to a sailor that my vocabulary, my deck department vernacular wants to come out.
Well, you want to let your sailor hang out because that's how you grew up there. That was the language that you spoke to them. I don't go back to Italy and speak German to the Italians. You know what I mean?
I'm sitting there going, what's the word? Vernacular of the deck seaman. So.
Yeah. Well, there's so many people so far that have been on here, and I'd say that most of them cussed already.
Yeah.
Easily. And that's what's beautiful. It's not radio, so you can do this with sailors. Because if it was FCC regulated, we'd be like, meh, and edit, meh. And after this message, more for Suntime Lemonade. Like, you're like the guy's story. He's like, so I was going in the bosun's locker. And then after this message, more from Suntime Lemonade.
There you go.
So yeah, that's the plan. And
I'll listen to them. What you put them on Instagram, don't you?
Well, no, Instagram, I advertise the episodes, but the episodes are on AEC Stories.
I got it. Yeah.
You're on that one, right? I'm also on iTunes too.
You're on that Sea Stories page. I've seen that. Yeah. I'm on it. All right, man.
Okay, cool, man. Well, good rapping with you today, brother. And any of you Sea Story fans want to hear more? They'll all come at different levels. Some of us will be more linear about what our stories are and how we got in and all that. And people that come back like Ronnie, we're just going to be BSing a little bit to keep the ball rolling, give you something to listen to. So hit us up on Facebook at AEC Stories on Facebook page, and also on aecstories.podbean.com. aecstories.podbean.com. That's where you can listen to all the episodes.
Just tell people if they want to learn how to drive Cadillac.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about Cadillac driving, just call up Ronnie, and he'll tell you what tools you need to get from Home Depot. So have a good one, everybody.
Hey, brother.